I found this spot because in the summertime because I was looking for shade. We shade here all the time in the summer.
Yeah.
So I was here in wintertime so it's actually kind of cold. So, but when summer comes, hopefully I will be out here June, maybe July, because I meant to be gone before the cold air came back again. This California air is kind of crazy. It's up and down. It's crazy. I'm taking the jacket off, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, and this is less than an hour, less than a half hour sometimes.
Yeah.
Say, wow, this weather's crazy. And then you have calm wind, then the wind will pick up, you have strong gusts.
John Hawkins again, downtown Los Angeles with the Employees Club of California, and this is another edition of People We See. And I have here today Darrell Ford. Darrell, pleasure to meet you again. And I say again because this is the third time that we've interviewed Darrell. So what we're going to do is do a little bit of a follow-up and go back to some of the reasons that caused him to be on the street and what has happened in the last 3 years that we interviewed him the first time. So Darrell, again, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And just to recap, and I was going through the old files, you were born in Chicago.
Yes.
And you're, how old are you now? You're 69?
67.
67. So you're approaching the 70 mark, aren't you? But you look great.
Oh, thank you.
We'll include some of the things that we talked about, but just, again, for more of the recap, born in Chicago, and I need my glasses on here, Darrell. You graduated from Fenger Public High School, right? And we were just talking about, that's where Elliot Ness graduated from. Yep. And who's the FBI guy from The Untouchables, and Robert Zemeckis, both of them who did Back to the Future and Forrest Gump. So both of them graduated from the same high school you did. Never been married, no kids. You got a younger brother and sister. They're all a year apart. Brother's still living in Chicago. Your sister's in Georgia. You started working when you were 16, and oh yeah, I remember this. You're working in the mailroom for the National Association for Realtors. Right. Anyhow, tell me what happened. Let's just kind of go over from the mailroom job to now. Just give me a kind of a summation of events that led you to because that was in Chicago, right?
That was in Chicago.
That led you from that job to here, living on the street in Los Angeles.
Well, actually, once I was unemployed from there, I was drawing unemployment insurance until it ran out. That was about 2 years. And once that ran out, I was homeless for a short period of time in Chicago. And I was on the south side of the city and had moved to the north side of the city. And so I met this young guy that kept coming by looking at me. And he walked over, he started talking to me, and one thing led to another. He said he never met a homeless person before, he never gave him money, he don't like him, and things like that. But he said there's something about you, and he just came every Sunday, and we talked. And he was on the job. He was like a mid-level exec, and they were downsizing at the time. And he was one of the guys they had to let go. And he had about 3 months left on the apartment he was living in, and he would be on the streets himself. So what he did, he said, had I ever been on the West Coast? I told him no. So he said, how about we hook up? He said, I take care of everything, and we go to Florida, either California. And I said, I've been on the eastern seaboard already, but I've been west. So he said, well, let's go west. I said, I don't know, man. Because moms always say, don't go nowhere with strangers.
And so, how old were you at that time?
53. It's about what, 14 years now, or something like that?
Right.
Total.
Yeah.
So one thing led to another. He sold everything he had, even his personal items, which he didn't want to sell. And we met for 4 Sundays in a row. And he came on the 5th Sunday and he said, showed me 4 $100 bills and told me to pack and get rid of the stuff I don't need, that we're on our way to California. Got on the Greyhound bus, December 28th in the afternoon, and it was 3 days on the Greyhound bus, and we arrived here at 2:45 in the afternoon in front of the Union Rescue Mission. And that's how I got started here. It was all set up.
Okay.
So they was waiting on us to arrive. So we spent 1 year there. They had a program. We spent 1 year there, and while I was there, I worked 3 jobs here because you have to save your money, and that'd be your money when you leave. So I left the Union Rescue Mission with that 1 year, but I stayed a little while longer because of what I was doing. And the only reason he could stay longer is because he was in school. And I did 2 years. He stayed there for 4 years.
Wow. Have you seen him since then?
No, I lost him because he had 2 numbers to call him and answer thing. But when I had my apartment, he came over and I saw him on 5th and San Pedro one day, ready to catch the bus. And he had grown a beard. It looked like Grizzly Adams. Almost didn't recognize him. And I asked him what's going on, and he said, "Darrell, I'm losing my memory and stuff like that. I can't see good and stuff like that."
No.
And I said, "Wow." Then he said, "My bus is coming," and that's the last time I saw him.
Wow.
And I don't know if he's okay or what, but I helped him fill out his SSI papers and everything. That was when I had my place, and he just came there one time, and that was it.
Wow.
And when we done that, he stayed a weekend one time because he was actually on the street for 2 weeks, and lost Felix. He was on the streets.
Okay.
There for a couple of weekends. So I let him stay at my place, and then we filled out SSI papers for him, and I haven't heard from him since. So
wow.
He pretty much got it though, because it's very elaborate, and we took a while filling those papers out because we had to get everything correct.
Good.
They run across one little thing that's not correct, they stop because it don't coincide with the rest of it, so they stop immediately. But it was a very good experience for me too. So, but I got railroaded out of my place. They tell me I had too much stuff, living there for 8 years with the same stuff I moved in with. And then they tell me that, you have too much stuff in your room now. So I took the 90 days.
And that was the SRO. You were in SRO housing.
SRO housing.
They told you, hey, you got to leave. You got too much stuff. They're cracking down, right?
Yeah.
Even though it was the same stuff you had in the very beginning.
The same stuff I had from the very beginning.
And how many years were you in the SRO housing?
8 years.
8 years, and then like that, you're
like
on the street.
I'm on the street.
With no game plan.
With nothing.
What did you do?
Well, actually, I moseyed around in the same area, in that block right there. Because I had met a lot of people too. So when they saw me, they knew what happened too. And they said it was sad, it was wrong what they did, blah, blah, this and that. So I hung around there for a while, and then people started giving me things. That's how I got the shopping cart. And I said, I can't carry all this stuff around, and then I started accumulating things in the cart,
What's the most valuable thing to you, not money-wise, but to you in this cart? If you had a run right now, let's say there's an earthquake and the building was falling down, and you could only take one thing from your cart here, what would it be?
Oh, I got a duffel bag hanging on the side here, a U.S. Army green duffel bag. That's what I would grab first. And if I carry this maroon suitcase underneath.
And then you go. What's in that? What's in that Army duffel bag?
That's the most important thing that's closest to me. Shoes and everything. People gave me new shoes. I got everything fresh. Everything you need to work with. That and the suitcase has the most important stuff in it.
What's in the suitcase?
I got a pillow, a brand new pillow. It's a little light blanket also in that one, and I think it's a nice vest type jacket.
We're looking good.
All my stuff that I need for brushing teeth and stuff like that.
Okay.
In there, so
what do you think is the number one reason when you look around, because you see other homeless people living on the streets, and everyone's different, and there's different reasons for people eventually ending up here, right?
Yes.
So in the last 3 years, and like I said, this is the third time that we've sat down and talked. You seem very cogent. You seem very observant. You're very smart. When you look around and you see other homeless people, what do you think is the reason for some of them ending up here on the sidewalk all night long?
Well, I haven't actually talked to anyone that was really on the streets, because most of the people downtown is mostly mental cases down here, pretty much. Because when I first arrived here, I seen people talking to themselves like they'll just be stopping all of a sudden and just start beating up the air and stuff like that, and some loud outbursts and things like that. But then someone told me, I asked somebody about it. I said, hey, why is this? And then they said when they release them from the hospitals or wherever they come from, then they just set them on the curb right in front of the missions, and they said they would come out and get them. So that actually happened when I arrived. They said an old lady out. She had the hospital gown on, but the back of it was all out and everything. They just set her on the curb.
Wow.
I held the door before I went in. Alexander went in before me, and I held the door to look and see what was going on. And I asked somebody, and they said that's what they're doing, but they had stopped that about 9-8 months after I arrived here. So they had to stop doing that. But that was their normal routine.
Right.
Was to set a person out.
since then to today, because it would seem that there are more people living on the street today than back 15 years ago when you first landed here, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think, if back then you noticed might be mostly medical or mental issues, do you see a change today? Do you see that same, or what do you see is different today?
No, I don't see much. I think it's got kind of worse to a certain degree, because I see more people. At first when I got out here, I didn't see that many walking around. Now I see more just walking around aimlessly. No direction, nowhere to go or nothing, and then they just throw fits and stuff like that. There's a couple of people that's turn over garbage, just come down the street and turn over garbage cans and empty them out on the ground. And things like that, tear down the signs such as this one here on the pole here for the cars. I was on 5th and Hill Street at the time. That's where I concentrated the most, because I made my money. It's the food truck that comes. And I hung around the food truck because the people come to the truck, then I hit them up. But then I got friendly, everybody knew me over there also.
Yeah.
So when they see me, they give me money on site and things like that. So that's how I fed myself, got my little snacks, because I love snacks. Stuff like that, and and other little stuff. So it's not a lot of money, but it was some money enough to do what I need to do. Every now and then I'll get a bonus tip, So it was pretty nice.
When you say you like snacks, what kind of snacks?
Ooh, man, candy, chocolate.
Okay, what kind of candy?
Yeah, Snickers.
There we go with the Snickers. Everybody loves Snickers.
Oh yeah, that's a candy bar when you're hungry. It'll curb the appetite.
Yep, you're right.
Before you get some real food.
And it's heavy.
And, it's real good.
That's like a meal.
Any candy bar, in my opinion, with peanuts in it is good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with the Payday, Mr. Good Bar, all of those. Anything
That's
with peanuts.
Yep.
Yeah, anything with peanuts, it was always a good candy bar.
Yep. Now, when you told me, when we talked, I think it might have been the last time, a year ago. Mm-hmm. So we talked 3 years ago, and then we also had a conversation a year ago, exactly a year ago. And I remember you mentioning that one of your favorite times of the year was Christmas, and that was because your family was actually well-to-do. I mean, you weren't poor.
No.
So you had everything you needed for the most part, right? So what do you think, if you could go back and change anything about your life, would you do the same exact thing, or was there anything that you would do different?
Well, I might have went on after high school, went on to college, but I was in the frame of mind at that time to go to work and make my own money, because I left home at an early age, at 16 years old, and they weren't hiring it at that time. The guy liked me so much, he told me to go home and get my birth certificate, and that's how I got started working.
Why did you leave home at 16?
Because they told me I have a hard head, and I think I know that too. So
wait. So did you leave home voluntarily at 16?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I left home voluntarily.
Okay.
Because my mother and father was separated at the time. And what I did, I moved in with her for 2 years.
Okay.
And she accepted me, and she said, all I want you to do is I don't want no rent or anything, just save your money.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Okay.
And then I got my place and all that, and the whole shot after that,
Okay.
And,
is there anything you do different?
Well, that's
other
about
than
it.
you said go to college.
Yeah.
But was there a career you would have liked to have gone into?
Wow, that's because I'm born in Santa Capricorn, and we're pretty versatile, so it could have been anything and anything.
And stubborn.
And that too. Yeah. And anything that I would want to do, I was going to be diligent, and I was going to, because with the Capricorn, it's like once they say it, it's already done already. It just hasn't been implemented, But if I went on to college, probably been chemist.
That's what you said 3 years. You said because you had a chemistry set when you were a kid, and you loved doing that.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. So that would have been something that would have interested you, being a chemist. Fascinating.
Yes.
Are you on any medication for medical issues or anything?
No, just the normal stuff.
Yeah.
The high blood pressure, the cholesterol.
Yep.
Now I got pills for the iron. He said I'm losing. I don't have enough iron.
Okay.
The vitamin C type thing.
Right.
Oh, that's the normal basic stuff everybody pretty much has.
Right.
But I used the inhaler also.
Oh, that's right, asthma.
I have
bit
inhaler.
asthma.
Yeah.
And would you say that most of the homeless people on the street today are have some substance abuse issues?
Actually, for the most part, most of them do.
And what would the substance be? What do you think it is?
From what I hear, well, the rock cocaine is the biggest one, and then you got a few that's on heroin, and I don't know this other drug, but I forget the name of it. But cocaine and heroin, but cocaine pretty much the most.
What about weed? Is that a problem?
Oh yeah, weed.
Is it there's a lot of weed. I mean, there's weed all over.
Yeah.
Even normal people over here.
Yeah, weed shops now. So.
It's all over. Yeah. Do you think that is being that it's so accessible now, is that causing a problem, or do you think it's really doing anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's causing a problem, because it's a different thing with the marijuana, because I smoked that all through my teen years. You know, so and then all of a sudden I just stopped without even saying I was going to stop. You know, most of the things I was doing, I found myself becoming a life would change. I was doing different things, so I kind of ventured out of it. And then I looked around one day and said, wow, I'm not doing that anymore. I didn't just tell myself that.
Yeah.
I just do a lot of things. You know, I shoot pool, I roller skate, I swim, I play basketball, softball, you know, all that. Then I found myself not doing those things because my life was changing a little bit with the different jobs I was having.
Right.
So it was different things I was doing, and then people I was meeting. And, you know, mostly it was I wasn't a heavy drinker, but we drank a lot of stuff like that. Doing all the stuff that normal people do, you know. But I didn't take it to past that extent, where I went overboard with anything, you know. Because I would catch myself, you know. So, you know, that's part of discipline. And then I pretty much had good self-discipline anyway. And then I always remember what mother and father told you anyway, you know, about things like that, you know, on what to look out in the streets, and if you don't drink, what to do, and things like that. So.
Right. Okay, last question. If you were the mayor of Los Angeles and you wanted to help the homeless problem, right? What would you tell him as what are some of the primary needs that the homeless have? Like you, what do you need? Not to solve it, but just to help.
But to help get, Okay, now that's a good one. Now this is what I would do. This is my personal assessment from being out here, from what I've seen. If I had any kind of money or whatever, I know it sounds crazy, but it was a big dream, like those castles in England. Those are big enough, but I don't think it would house all the homeless here in California. But this is what I would do. I would find some funding from somewhere where I could build a whole complex, a large, huge, brand new units, everything brand new, to pull all these people in. And then I have stringent rules, so it'll be fair. So the people, that's what they're doing now in these units and stuff, you would be doing the same thing, you know. Like when you get these units, you won't be coming in having drug dealers coming in and smoking and selling and stuff like that.
Does that happen in the SRO units?
Yes. See, I would stop all that. I had the rules to split it. Real huge signs where you can read it very legibly, so it wouldn't be no problem. So I can't see. No, you can see these words, and you get a second chance. But then after that, you have to go. But the way I would have it is that you would want to live there to be like a person sent from heaven to help the homeless people. That's the way I would have it. That's the dream I had for all the homeless.
Say that again. A person sent from heaven?
That they would think that a person sent from heaven to help the homeless. So I would have it set up like that. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And I wouldn't have no rules where you have to be up at 5 o'clock. You can lay in your bed or whatever you want to do. But I would do, as a person, I would come around and talk to each individual and see where they're actually sitting at, you know, if you're shiftless, if you're lazy, or whatever the case may be. And I deal with you from that point on.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be humble, and it's going to be, you know, humanity involved. It's going to be considering your side. It's going to be compassion. The whole shot, you know, because I'll be putting myself out for you, like this, so to speak, jumping in with both feet. You know, and I'm gonna look out for you. Now, if you don't want to help yourself, that's something. But the way I'm gonna lay it out and lay the whole format out, you're gonna like it because you can't help but like it.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be so smooth. You know, it's
right.
Like, hey, this guy, where did you get this guy from? You know, so that's the way I like to see things, because that's me as a person.
And anyone can stay there.
Anyone.
Yeah.
It don't. No discrimination. Nobody exempt. Everything. The whole shop. But see, that'll sweep it. And so to speak, you'll clean the streets. I'll sweep everybody up. You know.
How would you, if someone said, I don't want to go?
Well, that's on them, but it's gonna be hard for them to say no.
Because they're gonna, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard for them to say no. The way I'm gonna lay it out.
What would you call it?
Oh,
Darrell's,
wow.
Darrell's Castle?
Well, let's go with Emporium right now.
Emporium?
Yeah, let's say Darrell Emporium.
Darrell's Emporium.
Let's call it that for right now.
All right, that's cool. Would you have doctors and people staff there to help them, and maybe
they'll be
psychologists?
They'll be at the building. Yeah, when
Okay.
you get to your building and your unit get issued out to you, that's when everybody gets looked at and everything like that. Yeah, because we don't want diseases running around and things
Right.
like that too.
Okay.
You know, so of course I had the whole enchilada, everything, man, would be there to help and to get a good jump start for the homeless people.
Awesome. Well, this is great. I am so glad I ran into you again. I think you're my favorite interviewee.
Oh, thank you very much.
And Darrell's Emporium.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if that became a reality, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Darrell's, and you could be on the staff, if not running it. Well, your name would be on the marquee. So.
Oh yeah,
I think you'd be running
it. And then I acquire a couple of guys. Like I used to always say, I'm like the Marines. I just need a few good men. So that'd be 3 guys besides myself, and that's all I need. And we can get it done.
I love it, Darrell. Thank you as always.
All right, John.
I really appreciate it, and you seem to be doing well. So maybe I'll see you in another year, and we'll have another interview.
Okay.
If not, I'll see you at Darrell's Emporium.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, this is John Hawkins with Darrell Ford down in downtown Los Angeles, and this is another edition of People We See in Los Angeles for the Employees Club of California. Thank you for listening and watching.